Hi there, welcome to my channel. This is Karen with inspiredbygram.com. We will be making a card from the Nature's Harvest bundle. Now this is a bundle that you can add to your starter kit for free up until September 30th, 2021. So if you would like to join Stampin' Up! And also join Inspired Daisy's team, I would highly recommend this bundle. You can find it on page 56 of the mini catalog, and the value of that bundle is $53. So you would be saving $53 by adding it to your starter kit. All right, so we're going to get started making the card. We are using Nature's Harvest stamp set. Very beautiful stamp set. Love every single one of the sentiments here. And we're also going to be using some dies from the Harvest dies, and I'm using this one, these two here, and also one of these labels from the set. So we are going to get started making this vintage card. I'm using Very Vanilla as my main color here. I'm also using Crumb Cake as another color as well. So we're going to do some stamping. We're going to make a thank you card today. So let's get all these little pieces. There's a lot of pieces here. This was a card I offered in my September card club, and I love card club, and it is a great way to make cards with me doing all the die cutting and prep for you. So if you're interested, you can just email me at inspiredbygram@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send you the link to October's club. Anyway, we're going to get started stamping, and we're going to be using Early Espresso ink. Only one ink, actually two ink colors. We're going to use Early Espresso, and we're also going to use some Crumb Cake. So I'm just going to take that thank you, and I'm stamping it on that die cut label. Now, when we stamp on our labels that are die cut, there's a smooth side and a rough side. So make sure you're stamping on the smooth side. And then we're going to take this little Crumb Cake die cut. It comes from the Scallop Contours dies. So that was another die cut that I used in this card. We're going to need some scrap paper, and we're also going to use some Crumb Cake ink. So tone on this card here. And we're going to use the background stamp. So this is kind of the background stamp. It's a little bold. So let me just show you what it looks like in first and second generation ink. So that's first and second. So you can kind of see the second generation ink is what we want, because this is going to be like really too dark. And we just want a subtle hint of ink on this scallop contour. So I just stamped off. So let me do that again. We're going to stamp off, and then we're going to stamp on. Okay, so see how that looks. Now we're going to stamp on, stamp off, rotate our stamp so we're not getting that same pattern, and then stamp off, stamp on. So just keep doing that until you like what you come up with. Now, some of it is going to be covered up with those die cut flowers, but let me just add another piece right there, some stamping, and then we're going to flip it over and add a little bit right there. Okay, so I think I've got that the way I want it. We're also going to, let me take that Early Espresso again, and we're going to stamp our envelope with a thank you. Now it's all about card assembly, so let's clean up our area here and get to work doing that. So I've got a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock, and inside is our vanilla panel. This is cut 4 1/4 by 11, and I've already pre-scored it at 5 1/2. And then I've got an Early Espresso panel, which is cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm going to match it up with some of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. That's cut 3 3/4 by 5. So what you're going to want to do is just take your adhesive, and we are going to run it around the, hopefully, it's dried out. Dried, so we're just going to take our Stampin' Seal. Let's do that. Let's get it to go. Let's not get it to go. Okay. There we go. Okay, it was just rolled in there. So we're just going to take our Stampin' Seal and line it up around the sides and a little bit on the edges. Now we're going to take this piece here and layer it onto the early espresso. Now we've just got about 1/8 of an inch border. So when you're happy with the way it looks, then we're going to just add it to that panel. The next step is to add our panel to the card fronts, but first we've got to prep it. So let's take some Stampin' Dimensionals and we're going to add 5 to the back side here. I add my Stampin' Dimensionals about 1/4 of an inch from the edges, and then we're going to add 1 in the middle here. And then the next thing we're going to do is let's peel these back sides off. We got 5 of them, and they go everywhere, right? Now we're going to use our scallop lace trim. Love this. It's so pretty. It's so soft, and it's so elegant. And reminds me of my grandmother. She was a very elegant lady, always dressed up, no matter what the occasion. And it reminds me so much of her. So we're going to take this panel. Let's bring in our card front. Make sure it's opening the correct way. We don't want upside down. And then we're going to make sure it's flat on the back side. Bring it around the front, and then we're going to layer it right on the front of the card. Now see how that ribbon comes back and forth is what we want. And then we're going to take this over to the left side. We're going to create a bow. You could create like a knot bow. You could also just wrap it around to the back, around the front, I mean, and then tape it to the back side if you don't want a bow. But I like the bow. It just makes it look really fancy and vintagey and very elegant. So we're going to wrap that around, tie a bow, hopefully. Let's try one more time. It's so much harder when you're doing a video. Okay, there we go. That's what I want. Let's take some ribbon scissors. We need to trim this off. Okay, so this is good and prepped. I'm going to move it up a little bit. Now let's take this panel here. This is going to go on here, but we do need to lift it up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Only 4 is what you need, so you can bring them into about 1/2 an inch from the edge, and that way you're not needing one in the middle. Give them a really good press and then peel them off. All right. Now let's take this panel here. We're going to slide it underneath that bow, and then we're going to center it top, bottom, left, and right. And then we'll get it in place. Now let's take these 2 die cuts here. One is in Bumblebee cardstock, this one, and this one here is in Blackberry Bliss. Love Blackberry Bliss on crumb cake. We're going to flip them over, and we are going to add, I'm going to add this one first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I wish I had some liquid glue because that would work best. So let me just really tap it on here, and there we go. Of course it comes out so super strong, right? And then we're going to just add it right up and then flip it over. And then we want to add it right to the card front on that crumb cake die cut. Make sure it's not going over the top. Okay, this piece fits perfectly. Now let's take the Blackberry Bliss, same thing. We don't necessarily want to put any up there because it's going to extend over that scalloped die cut. So we're just going to tap here, put some on the stem, but don't have to go all the way down. Put some right here too. We're going to slide this off, and then I'm going to add this one right here, kind of at an angle. I'm filling up this area of the crumb cake scallop contour die. Okay, now let's take that sentiment panel. We're going to add this to the card, probably about right in this area. I am going to pop it up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. It needs a little bit of dimension to come up off of those, the die cut flowers. So we'll just add these here. And then slide it over here. And we're going to place it right here. I want to show I want to show the stitching on that contour die. So let's slide it over here and give it a good press. That way I can still see the stitching here all the way around. And then we'll just puff up that little bow there. Let's take our Very Vanilla panel here. This one is cut 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to add a piece of the Designer Series paper. This is just a scrap. It's 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches, and we're going to add our seal all the way across, and then we're going to add this right to the edge. And I'm leaving a little bit of that Very Vanilla coming through here so we can kind of see it. Then we're going to take our seal again. One strip will do it. And then we'll open this card up. Add this panel here, which looks fabulous with crumb cake. Love Very Vanilla and crumb cake. Very vintage colors. And then if you want, you can add some of these brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. They are found in the mini catalog. They come in 3 different colors and they will jazz up your cards beautifully. So I'm just going to add 3 to this card here. Kind of keep them all centralized. Let's add one up here in this space here. And then I'm going to add another one here. And actually, I'm going to add it down here in this corner. And then one last touch, if you really want to get some sparkle on your card, you can take your Wink Stella. And Wink Stella works great on like these die cuts from the Harvest dies. You can just kind of do some brush strokes. It will dry clear with lots of sparkle. So we're just kind of brush stroking it over. You can go down on the stems here. Anywhere you want glitter, just take your Wink Stella pen and add it to the card. So let's get these here and we are all set. Looks fabulous. So let's take a look at the card one more time so you can get a really good look at it. Here's our thank you envelope. And here's our card. Let me just bring it up close to the video for you so you can see all that sparkle created by the Wink Stella. Take a look at that scallop lace trim, very vintagey. So I hope you liked today's card. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. If you do like it, please hit me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. For all your Stampin' Up! Needs, you can visit me at inspiredbygram.com. Thanks for watching and have a fabulous day.